great, Miru. So I saw your gameplay matches. They were pretty good. Was I definitely see improvements? Um, was it? And I think the most shocking thing to me was that you were breaking throws. Sometimes it wasn't the right button, but it's already a huge step for when people can just simply react to the animation. Um, but that's actually like a huge step forward because it's actually not very far from there to start like pressing the right like punch input to break according to the arms. So just definitely keep that up and you'll get there on that one. Remember it's more of a mental thing, so it's not something that you can just simply like crank out in one section because as if it was like a physical execution thing. Was it so? Yeah, just it's repeated practice is what's gonna make you overcome that. Um, and now moving on, I did watch those matches. As I said, and I did see that you mentioned that you were talking more about small Tekken, and it's definitely a concept that you will have to know. Was it like a pretty intermediate concept? Um, and it can be a little daunting because was it and can be a little confusing because the term itself is pretty vague. It's also not really that good of a term, though. That being said, I don't think there's really a good like any other term that really encompasses like what you're really talking about. Um, it's mostly talking about poking and how you use poking. That's really where small Tekken comes about, and like low level mind games and whatnot. But either way, I still have like an explanation for you, and was a big talk on the concepts of small Tekken. Um, and so here is going to be a whole video with like some organized thoughts. I have some notes here. Was that I'm just going to be kind of reading off of. I'll probably post these notes too, if you want to read them. But it's just basically like bullet points for me. But most key points of what to take in for small Tekken. Um, so as I said before, small Tekken is kind of like a nebulous term. It's not really explained too well, was it? And it doesn't really encapsulate, was it? It's not very definitive, and where the line between small Tekken and big quote-unquote Tekken, um, was it? Gets into is also pretty vague. But when most people talk about small Tekken, they're talking about poking. Whether they're talking about poking, the mind games that revolve around poking. And admittedly, it's a very specific and detailed kind of concept. Was it? Because in small Tekken, you'll get really into the minute details of like what works and doesn't work in Tekken, and like specifics. Was it? What I mean by what works and what doesn't work is in like what will hit you and what won't hit you, and what will frame trap and won't actually frame trap, and what will, you know, was it? Things start bending rules because we're not contained by the math of frame data anymore. We're actually using space, 3D space. So that being said, was it small Tekken? It's really with all these details and whatnot, it's really easy to get caught up in those and forget what the real objective and why people do small Tekken in the first place. Was it again? The whole point, don't forget this, was it? But the whole point of doing small Tekken is to pressure your opponent into making a mistake or some kind of read that you can do, was it? And was it most optimally and preferably, was it? It's an opportunity to launch, was it? Because in reality, I'm sure you noticed by now, and especially if you watch like higher up people, players, not everyone is trying to launch each other using launchers 24/7 to kill each other, right? They're all poking and moving and whatnot, right? Because all the launchers are punishable. And was it unless you have a safe down forward too, then you're just privileged. uh, but no, was it what kind of reads people are making here is what they're trying to take a read on a mash attempt or a slash timing attempt, or attempt on their timing slash mash, like when they're gonna mash, or when they're kind of move, either backdashing or sidestepping. But that's the big idea that you're trying to get. You're pressuring them into was it getting them more predictable that you can figure out when and where they're gonna mash or move. That's really the gist of it. You're not trying to win. Was it specifically? Was it? Given all the like talk of was it the intricacies of small Tekken, um, and landing hits and doing crazy stuff with it and whatnot. You're not trying to win by poking with small Tekken. You're trying. Was it? It's really. It's not. It's not impossible, and it's not like people do it all the time because people do it all the time. Like they win by just like poking to death and with small. Like with like no combos. But that is not ideal. Was it? It's much more ideal that the fastest way to end someone in a round is was it land a launcher, do 75% of their health, and then was it do like maybe like one or two or like a couple more mix-ups, land a couple more hits and they're dead, right? Was it the whole idea is you're trying to get that one mark. It's much safer and easier to win that way, but rather than killing them by doing like 50 million pokes landing. Okay, it's not actually 50 million, right? But like on average, really, you have to land maybe like depending on the pokes, and especially depending on the character, because the power, the damage that comes out from them differs. It's gonna be like 20 between 20 is way too low. It's gonna be between like 30 to 40 poke interactions that you have to land. Was it into actually like putting someone in danger of losing the round, right? Actually like killing them straight up for the HP bar. So was it? So it's much better to was it? Those can happen, and you can try to win that way. Some characters are more suited to it than others, but really, even the characters that are suited for it, they're trying to do this so they can get a launch, right? So now getting into it, what kind of was it mind games you should think about? These low level mind games that you should think about when trying to use it. Was it? I think pretty easily. Was it? The way that I have this kind of like ordered in my brain is was it revolves around frame advantage and the uses of that. So first one is pretty easy, using frame advantage, as in like you actually have some real frame advantage. As you probably understand by now, right? If you're like super plus, was it in this game, in any fighting game, where is it? There is a fundamental mix-up opportunity here. Was it? And it's either to go for like a real mix-up, like a mid or low after being plus mid or low. Oh, sorry, you have a real low. This one was it down back 3. Was it? You can go mid or low poke. Was it? Or you can actually do like a frame trap, right? Like can. Not this one. Forward 1+2. Kind of forgot that she has this. Obviously, some characters are better here at using their frame advantage than others, and that's kind of the case for June, I should say, as in like other characters are better at using their frame advantage. But no matter, was it? That doesn't really matter. Even fundamentally, you'll still be able to use it, right? Because you can still go into stance, for example, right? And you can do the low. Was it? You can do like a mid, for example. So fundamentally, you can still mix up here and frame trap. But the thing is, that's what you can do with frame advantage, right? Pretty simple and pretty easy, right? Was it just be super plus on block and mix them up between these two opportunities, right? Was it keep mixing them up with, like lows and mid pokes, and eventually when they crack, which is that read you're looking for when you're playing this small Tekken, was it you'll go for the counter hit, right? You'll go for the cans and launch them or something, right? So that's my definition at work there in terms of like a big frame advantage example. Was it? But you already knew that. Was it? And this is not exactly the smallest the Tekken's using these quote-unquote bigger moves. Again, that's I don't not a really good term that we have here, but the thing is, um, was it? But you know, most people's oh, or sorry, before I get into that, let me go back. But what you should know is those are the big moves. But there's also other times where you have like frame advantage, right? When using the smaller attacks here. So like for example, if I just jab, I happen to counter hit, you're +8. Was it? And just like how you're super plus from having this move blocked, you're also super plus from having here. So you can execute your own, you know, the simple, you know, do I mix a low or mid, or do I frame trap here? Kind of mind game. Now, things get trickier when you don't have, well, not trickier, it's pretty simple, but things get a little bit different when you have, when you don't have an overwhelming frame advantage. So, I'm sure you heard of this, but the strength of a jab is probably the most universal poke in this game. Jab and down forward 1. Well, everyone's got a jab, so we'll stick with the jab example. But jabs on block are +1. Was it? Hold on, there you go. Was it? Jabs are +1 on block. And it, you know, what I'm trying to expand on here is that it's not very plus at all. But the thing is, despite it only being +1, it's actually a lot more actionable than you think, because a really strong like pattern move here, like a set of, or a pair of moves to use here is to jab and to down forward 1, jab and down forward 1. You know, this sounds kind of obvious and doesn't, you know, like well, maybe it's not so obvious because I definitely haven't seen you use it, but this is something that you should use here. Jab and down forward 1. But let me go into the specifics of why it's good. So first of all, jab. Number 1 is that it's fast. Jabs are really fast, and also for most characters, you like step forward, especially with Dragunov. Dragunov has a leading jab, and he really pushes himself forward, like takes a step forward when he does that jab. But for June as well, she's a decent jab. You can push yourself forward, and and you can basically get here and just do it would just be from the sheer speed of it and the reach of it. It's not the best, but it's there. It can be. You can control your opponent with using the jab a lot. And with the +1, believe it or not, 1 into down for 1 is a really good idea. And now, you're already probably thinking, dude, you're only +1. Why? Like, you're doing a 13 frame move after +1. Like, aren't I gonna get mashed back? Well, let's think about it realistically. And this is what I kind of what you might not be aware of. If you're +1 and I do a 13 frame move, the speeds that are going to beat me is a 10 frame, an 11 frame, and a 12 frame. Well, a 12 frame is not going to beat me, but it might as well beat me because it's going to trade at that point, right? But the thing is, when you think about the selection of an 11 and 12 frame moves out there, they're not very good moves, right? Like, if you think of Reyna's 11 frame move is one I can just think of off the top of my head. Her 11 frame move is a punish move. It's like a punisher. If you block it, it's punishable on block, and you're not really meant to use that move as like a get off me kind of tool, or just like a retaliation move. That's like the same thing, the same way that someone, in your case, for June's case, to think of a more realistic answer, is that someone is mashing her 1+2 move after blocking a jab, or what's it frame? Or I guess like 12 frame, I guess, or something like that. Yeah, you know what? This is standing for is like a pretty good example too. But basically that's like saying when it was it? Yes, this is a 12 frame move. It exists and it will beat one into down forward one. But again, who is mashing was it their 12 frame move after blocking a jab? Right? Like that's kind of a crazy idea if you think about it, right? And who is mashing their 11 frame move when they're blocking a jab? Right? It's not the it's not at the top of their head. But not only that, things are happening, you know, at 60 frames per second, right? 10 frames, when you block a jab, the thing that comes right after the down forward one is coming up quick, right? Like, remember, a frame is just a 60th of a second. The only way, no one's gonna block a jab and have the time to be able to think about being like, wow, he's gonna do a 13 frame move. That means I can mash 12, 11, and 10 or 10 frame move here. So I'm gonna go mash my 12 and 11 frame move here, right? Like if they're not thinking, like they don't have that thought process and they're not reacting in that fashion when they block a jab. Like if people are mashing after a jab, they're probably gonna mash, like they were long committed to doing that mash, before that jab before they even realize that it's a jab that they blocked, right? So, that being said, what I'm trying to say here is that in terms of realistic Tekken players who are just not, you know, who / don't know any better, down forward one will actually beat a lot of moves, right? Or as in, rather than it beats a lot of moves, I should say that jab into down forward one doesn't get beaten by a lot of moves. And in fact, there's only one realistic answer that will beat jab into down forward one, in terms of frame data. And it's just for people to jab back, right? Does that make sense? It's a high move. It's fast, right? I'm losing to this. Oops. Right? I'm losing to this. But again, this is where the small Tekken comes in, right? Again, the whole point of small Tekken is to pressure your opponent into making, into doing some kind of behavior that you can make a read on, and you can punish, like into forcing some kind of mistake. So when we narrow this down, his option down to jab, and we know very specifically it's a jab, we can start making reads on punishing that, right? Number one is, I mean, look at the jab. It's a high move, right? So really obvious, you can duck under it, right? Is it going to be really hard to do a punish? Yeah, it might be, especially because, you know, it recovers so fast. So maybe this is not the best answer. But the thing is, there's a hole. There's already one hole right there. What about sidestepping? I can jab and you can sidestep, and then you can punish from there. That's a pretty decent way to do it, right? Especially when you have like a really fast punish? Like a 10 or 12, like using one of your 10 or 12 frame block punishers? Like this goes for, you know, beyond June, like using other characters. You can use like a small block punisher here and get some serious fan advantage. Or, you know, if you have an incredible punish like June's her 10 frame grab here, you can use this to, you know, sidestep, see that it's whiffing, confirm that it's whiffing, right? Because this is you having a read, right? This is not a pure reaction that I'm doing here. All I need to do is just confirm that he's jab. I already have half of mind that he's going to jab. Then you can get in, like you can fit in a really sick punish here. I mean, maybe you can do it down forward too. I forgot that she has a... But optimally, it'd be a launch. But sometimes, you know, jabs are really hard. So, But again, same idea. You can, you can narrow down the options, right? I narrowed it down to jab. That's only going to be me. And even though I'm losing to this, it helps me make the read to keep going and punish this, right? And we didn't even get to the character-specific punishes. You're June, for God's sake. You could just do Sabaki. But you can get a launch that way, right? We've narrowed it down to the button, and this is purely just using the smaller pokes, right? You know, I'm not +6. I'm not, you know, like +9, you know, I'm not, I wasn't, this is not some like crazy oki or something like that, right? This is just a jab. And this is what I'm trying to set you up, or like trying to get you to understand here, is that it's coming from these small pokes with these low level mind games. Was it that you want to narrow it down into like a read or something that you can do like this? I guess I forgot if she has this move too. Was it? But obviously, you know, that's a little unsafer to be ducking in front of your character, right? There's, as you can see, there's like many risk rewards here, right? Like this move alone is a high. This could be ducked under. Was it? Maybe, you know, it can be pretty hard. Like if you're like really late on using this move, it could be pretty bad. Right, -14. Right, so there's a lot of options here. You can do the side step move, sure. Um, but I'm sure you're getting my point here. But this is like the essence of small Tekken. It's not about trying to whittle your opponent down with like, you know, was it with these pokes and whatnot. You're doing the pokes, you might get hit a couple times or so, but the point of it is though you can make a read into something explosive, into something big. That's again, the whole point of small Tekken is to get them to make mistakes that you can predict, or you know, make them feel in some way predictable. And there's gonna be a punish for it. If there's not a punish for it, that means that character is really, really fucking high tier. But despite the craziness of Season 2 Tekken, the game is balanced enough that there's always going to be, like, hard reads can always be rewarded in some fashion. It's pretty rare that it can't be. But I guess that's the problem. There's too many hard reads that is needed in this game. Anyway, that's beyond the point. But yeah, there you go. There's some, jab. So next time when I do want to see you, especially with that, like, the second half of the video, which was like the Leroy match, I see that you still have like the same issue of like, playing too defensive, and you know, you're not. It seemed like you were more waiting for him to do something rather than you being proactive in yourself. But what I'm hoping that you'd understand and take with you into the next match is that being proactive is tied into, or rather, sorry, small Tekken is tied into offense. And being proactive doesn't have to be heavy, huge plus frames or anything like that. I'm hoping that next time you just go in there and do simple jab into down 4-1 is actually really strong alone by itself. Seriously, like, think about it. Only 11 frame and 10 frame moves are going to beat that, and that really narrows down the move list a lot, right? So simple, but it can be really precise. Like, it really narrows down the move sets here on that. This jab into down forward one. So now so that's a kind of a level on that's an explanation on what they're doing on block. But the thing is, what if your poke lands in the first place anyway? Because we can't forget about that part. We just talked about the part where initiating offense and being able to narrow down certain moves. When in terms of studying frame advantage and whatnot, to be able to make a read. But we can't forget about the part where, what if you just hit them anyway, right? Or what if they just got hit because, you know, who knows what they were doing, right? What if they just got hit by the down forward one, right? Like, if something like this happens, like they got hit by the jab and they got hit by a down forward one, you need a plan for this too. You need a plan for this too, because this falls under the part where, you're doing these small pokes to set yourself up for a bigger opportunity. And being +8 right here is a bigger opportunity, and you need to be able to like act on this too. And it's the same deal. You can frame trap, you can poke again, you can frame trap slash poke. Sometimes they fall into the same category, right? Like, a poke can be used as a frame trap, right? On a harder read, you can actually, you know, get like a good counter hit tool move going and whatnot. Like, if you want to be more rewarded for your read, rather, not a harder read. Was it? But when these hit, you want to be able to continue into more attacks. Right here, it's +2, and just like only being +1 on block here, why not this? Right? What's gonna beat this? Right? It's definitely not a button, was it? Or if it is a button, it's gonna be very narrow on what happens there, and you can take that, put it in your pocket, and save that for, you know, a later interaction or so. Keep that in your head, right? So anyway, yeah. So it's just as important that when you get these opportunities to land, you take these two. Was it when the pokes hit, you take those, but when they're blocked, you have a contingency plan for that. Really important. Using your frame data. Was it? Because was it? You know, you take these opportunities, and you know, eventually you don't have to frame trap anymore, right? Like they'll learn to settle down and not press so many buttons into getting can one too many times and whatnot. And you'll want to take that into like a bigger advantage. Unfortunately, for your character, you don't have like the hardest hitting mix-ups, but like just for the sake of teaching this, continuing to teach this concept, was it? I can be +8, and was it? If I was Kazuya, right here, it'd be a time to think about, you know, doing something like my 26 frame startup hell sweep, you know, or sorry, not 26, like 28 or something like that. I'm counting in the time for the wave dashing and whatnot, right? But these are the times when you start hitting your heavy hitting mix-ups. Now again, as June, you don't really have the heavy hitting mix-ups, and that's just how this character works. That's part of her archetype, because she is quote unquote more defensive oriented. But again, that's the kind of things you want to think about. On hit, you have a plan, and on block, was it? Keep it simple. One down forward one, you know, see where that goes. Maybe step with it and whatnot. Well, speaking of stepping with that, let me go into the second part of what I want to talk about in terms of small Tekken. Now, was it? You might have not have thought about this before, so this is part 2. Is the question of what makes a poke a good poke? What features would a poke have if it's considered a good poke? The answer, to save you all the thought of that, is that as at minimum has two good things. One, as a trustworthy and reliable hitbox. Was it? It hits where it means to hit. Was it? So it's not pretty bad. Most of the time, it's you know, most like reliable pokes. Well, you know, they're reliable because they'll hit like they're designed to hit. Can't say the same for that guy over there on the other side, Dragunov. His down forward one, it does not go too low to the ground. Like he'll get ducked under by like Ling's AOP or something. But anyway, sorry. Was it number one minimum? Pretty easy condition to hit is it has a pretty reliable hitbox. Was it? And maybe can track to one side. That's like a plus, not a must, but it's a plus. Number 2, and probably what I think is more important of between these two, is that whether on hit and on block, was it? You remain actionable. Was it? You are still able to do something that is not just holding back to block. Like you do not lose your turn. So I'm sure you heard me talk about this before, was it? But I think at the time you probably learning about it hasn't really made the impact of you. But nowadays, now that you're talking about small Tekken, this should open your mind a bit here, and was it definitely encourage you to look through your move list to see what you might be able to work with that you might have not worked with before. What moves to use, I should say. So there is a rule, and I've said it many times. Was it? But it's not an absolute rule. There's quite a decent amount of exceptions, but it's like the closest thing that we have to a rule here. If you are at worst -5, so not -6, not -7, not -8, -5 or better, was it? You can be at -5 or better, and you be at that frame advantage and still be able to sidestep and dodge a jab, which is the standard fastest move that everyone's got, right? I'm not counting Flash, which is 8 frame, NSS Flash, or other crazy 8 frame moves. But 10 frame jabs, it's pretty reliable that at -5 you'll still be able to dodge it, unless they have like an absurdly good hitbox. So that is if you that's kind of a statement to chew on, but I think it's probably better to see it in person and at work. Seeing is believing. So again, June down for 1, hers is -3 on block. At -3 on block, I should be able to sidestep if he doesn't move. He didn't do a move. There you go. But I should be able to sidestep the fastest move in the game, a jab. Boom. It's working. At -5, at worst -5, you should be able to sidestep and dodge a jab. Now, this has huge implications if you've never heard this phrase before, right? Because what that means is that you can be at -5 and still do something crazy, right? Because in a 2D game on paper, in a 2D game, as soon as you're at some kind of disadvantage where someone's jab will beat all of your options, that's it. Your turn is over, right? Technically, quote unquote, your turn is over. Assuming that they're always jabbing, right? But in this game, we have 3D space, and so you can take your time, the times when you're at -5, you can take that and you can turn it into another offensive, right? You can punish or something like that, but you don't even have to punish. Like, you can still dodge, and now you're positive, right? Because he just whipped a move, right? You can poke again. But in 2D games, this doesn't make sense because, dude, you're -5, your turn is over. But it's not like that again. In 3D games, this is how you should use stepping, though. This is like the base level of how to use stepping in an offensive manner. The defensive, sorry, I'll do stepping another time. But it is very important for a small Tekken here. So basically, when you're at -5, you can still tap. And going back to the question, what makes a good poke, making you actionable, is that you can still basically step after it. That's not what it directly means, right? But the thing is, like, the frame disadvantage on block is minimal enough that you can still do something, right? Because if they whiff a move, that's something that can be punished, which means that in order to stop you from stepping, they'll have to use the initial frame advantage that they have from blocking your down forward 1 into something that stops your stepping, right? Like maybe a homing move or something. And that alone creates like its own mind game, right? If you just block the homing move. Oops. And it seriously has been a while. Oh, here we go. This move here. Look at this move. 22 frames. Right? You stop them from trying to... if you get them to respect your stepping, you force them to do a move, that will stop you from stepping. And does this sound familiar? Being able to enforce a specific action that you can make a good read on, right? Look at this move. I'm -3. He's doing a 22 frame move. I don't even want to know. I don't even need to know what that is. I just know that I can fit a 14 frame can in between, even though I had my move blocked, right? The fact that I'm using stepping to disable his fastest moves, forcing him to do another move, is again another example of small Tekken. But in this case, again, what's different from the first example is that I'm taking a situation where I'm at a frame disadvantage here. I'm using this. I'm frame negative, or sorry, yeah, negative. I'm negative here. I'm minus. Man, that's kind of weird. I've never seen negative. I usually say minus. Anyway. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, I didn't even see that before. Anyway. But anyway, I'm taking my minus frames and I'm essentially turning it into an offensive opportunity. And was it by using sidestep, which is the beauty of 3D games, was it you can upset frame data. And also, as you can see here, this is another technique which I won't get into unless I make like a sidestep video. But essentially, I am sidestepping and I'm guarding, called step blocking. That's what we call step blocking. Step and mini block. Was it step blocking? You know, as you can see, this is gonna work. That's why his homing move is not the best homing move here. Let's use his actually good homing move. He goes back there. There you go. Good old fast homing move. So I can't step block because I won't be able to block in time. Oops. There you go. See, he's gonna catch me. But look at that move. Did you notice something? It's fast, but it's high. And not only that, it's a -9 on block, right? So what if I didn't step? First, like number one, what if I didn't step? Now I'm plus. And what if I just take my frame advantage here and, you know, turn it into a mix-up? And if they're tired of that, maybe I can turn it into a frame trap, right? Flip the mind game back on them from the frame advantage. And number two, it's a high, right? What if what if I knew that you're gonna do that, right? And I just launch you for it. Because I'm forcing this interaction, right? The fact that I'm step blocking and not just regular stepping, right? Sorry, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but number one was I'm stepping, and that's already forcing some kind of button. But number two was or example B, I'm step blocking, which means I'm getting even more specific. If you want to beat me, you have to use back three. This high, your faster homing move, and that is a high, and that, right? Again, these are all the small details and intricacies that I'm talking about here. But let's not forget, again, there's so many small details. Oh, I can beat, but you know, what if I do this move and I man, where's the move I'm talking about? What if I do this move and like have so much pushback that you know, he has to, you know, like it's gonna whiff or something. I can't think of a move that has a ton of pushback off the top of my head from Miru. Whoa, what the fuck? Actually going to space. Maybe I can like do this move and I can backdash and maybe I can zone it, like I can be out of reach and then do something. Remember, forget about all that. If it doesn't get you that one launch and read, because remember, the point of it is to get launchers off. To be able to punish on a hard read. Don't worry about the random conspiracy theory branches. That's what I'm trying to get at here. But remember, the whole idea of this is get yourself to get a good opportunity to read the opponent into doing something. Into something that you can punish. And then in turn, you know, gets them down to low HP. They have to take harder risks in order to beat you and whatnot. So, So anyway, yeah, that's a big one. -5. At worst -5. You're still actionable to beat a jab. Again, It depends on the jab, and it definitely, you know, there's a lot of variables at work here. And like for example, like yes, you might be able to dodge a jab, which means that on paper you should be able to dodge, you know, like a 13 frame, right? Like what if it was just like his down forward one? Actually, I should show you that right now because it's a pretty good example. Remember, there's a lot of small details to this, right? I'm -3. I'm -3. I can step. And I'll be able to dodge his 13 frame moves just like I predicted on being able to dodge it with jab. But the thing is, you know, it tracks to his left, which will be your sidestep right. and that's what I mean by intricacies, right? Like I can't just dodge one both ways. I have to do it one way, you know. So not only does speed matter, but tracking matters. You know, does it track the way that you're stepping? Was it? And some characters, or all characters, usually have some kind of like thing where, oh, good move A is weak to this side step, but good move B will track it that way, but it's weak the other way, and you know you're in another guessing game. Um, but anyway, yeah. See, there's a lot of small details about it on whether your poking and stepping is going to be successful, which again is the crux of being able to get push someone into was it push someone into a move that you can make a read upon and whatnot. And again, there's you don't maybe there's character specific stuff that other characters don't have that your character might be able to take advantage of. Who cares about stepping? What if I just Savaki away and you know do whatever combo? So there's that. Now, was it continuing on with the frame disadvantage? Using frame disadvantage into was it using frame disadvantage into small Tekken and indirectly with your movement. Was it? Well, getting into more small Tekken stuff. Let's talk about strings, because you did mention about cutting strings short and using them. Strings are definitely a little harder to use in terms of small Tekken. It's not very straightforward, because one, there's only a couple strings that really work well enough, and the big feature that they need is that they need to be delayable, which luckily for you, June does. Famous back 2 string is a very delayable string, and you know you can delay it so long that you can like want to use it to frame trap people into pressing a button and whatnot, right? But the thing is, going back to the was it you want to think about the bad thing, I should say. I guess it's a better way to word it like this. The bad thing about it is going back to the poke discussion. When it's a good poke, right? It makes you actionable on both hit and block. Now we've got the hit part covered, right? Because you know if someone moves, it runs into the second part of the string, you're plus here, right? No problem. But I guess there's also some more slight problems. Look at the distance that they have been pushed to. Things still reach, but it could be one backdash away and they're out of here, right? Except I can't. It's not Street Fighter 6, so I can't like get them to a reversal backdash as soon as they get hit. Right? I guess I can. Too much effort. I could be I can make a June bot do this to me and show you. But the thing is, was it the big advantage of strings? It's like a variable way to do like mix up and frame trap timings. The usual negative thing is that again they tend to be pretty specific to certain strings because they need to be able to be delayed to really make it effective. And the other thing about it, and usually the hardest thing about it to use this, is that their frame advantage is usually garbage. Was it for most of the strings? As you can see, I'm only +2. Was it the character, the opponent is pretty far away distance-wise. You know, there could be things that whiff, right? Like that down forward 1. I'm pretty sure this down forward 1 is gonna whiff if was it? If you just backdash it away or something. If you just like mashed a backdash as soon as you got hit, pretty sure this is gonna whiff, and I might get whiff punished. I guess you can go into stance. That's pretty committal though, right? Like, 'cause if you do this on block here, well, let's see. What happens if you do this on block? Oh, you're 0. Oh, but you don't have any fast moves. Oh, you can high crash, I guess, with this. I've seen this move go under jabs, and I know that's punishable. Oh, you can step. It's like, it's the builds inside that, it's not like actual step. Anyway, regardless, you're pretty restricted on using string extensions when these things are blocked, right? Like the frame damage on them, right? Look at this, it's -9. The first hit's -9. The second hit is -9. It's also a high attack. There is a mid, but that's also -9. Was it with no counter property, if I remember right? And I think it's also just like +2, even on counter hit. +3, even worse pushback for June. I go to stance. No. So anyway, was it the frame data is usually pretty hard to work with here. Was it? But it can also be effective, but it entirely depends against your opponent and how well you're really mixing it up. And let me talk about mental frame advantage. So, it's pretty simple as a concept. It is frame advantage that you get from, from really messing around with like the mental state of your opponent, rather, right? Like if you're really selling, was it? Let's see. So if you're really good at hitting them, finding the right opportunities to counter hit them, like you counter hit them enough with the second hit of this move, was it? So many times that the guy doesn't want to, press after blocking this first one, you can basically turn this -9 into frame advantage, was it? Because, despite you being -9, they're not going to press because they're worried about the second hit, right? So this is mental. You have mental frame advantage, because of the way the potential of the second strike coming through. But the thing is, this really depends against the player, right? Like depends on how well you've been mixing it up and how well or how much the opponent is susceptible of like, fearing this second hit essentially. Now, was it? Not all of these delayable strings are made equally. Some characters are much better at using string mix-ups than other characters. The one that comes in mind is Law, for example. I'll take a look at the Law one because it's actually so good in terms of hit. Because I mean, the whole character is based on string mix-ups. Was it? Believe it or not, counter hitting with string mix-ups. I'll show you in a second. But the thing is, it's. When you mentioned to me about like cutting the string short, and when I watched your VOD that you posted earlier to me, I noticed that you did a lot of just singular back twos and whatnot, and there was a time when you did finish it towards like the end of one of the rounds. I believe you did this one, not that one. Oh, two. I think it's two. There you go, which is safe. But the thing is, again, how effective it is, was it? As I've been saying, it really depends on how well you've been mixing it up and how much your opponent is scared about it. Now, despite saying all that, I painted a pretty bad picture. There are good times when you would use this, and they're much more effective if the less you use it. Was it? So if you're not using it all the time in the match, and you pick your time to use it, then they become really scary because they can open up a lot of stuff. Now, the one for June with the back two series is particularly powerful, specifically when you're against the wall. So what I'm saying here is don't use this. String mix-ups are pretty good. They're not that. I wouldn't say that they're really good at small Tekken because remember, what makes a good poke is because you're actionable after it before like both on block and on a hit. Very minimally minus. This is -9. Not saying that you're not actionable, but it's really dynamic, right? On player to player on how actionable you're going to be. But what I will say, and mentioning on where the string gets used, and a lot of delayable strings get used, is usually that they have some kind of property that you want to take advantage of. And in June's case, you might know what I'm going with here, especially because I restarted. There we go. Was it the extensions of this wall splat? Right, so using another wall combo. Okay, I just assumed that her wall combo was the same as the last time. So I'm like, right. So this is a good spot. I'm not gonna. It can be a part of her small Tekken, but I guess what I'm saying when it comes to June's case specifically, she's not one of the characters that you really use delayable strings. And they're more for a wall combo opportunity rather than pokes. Okay, here. Oh, I just forgot what her hot pick was. That's the last one over there. But anyway, yeah. So you're kind of right in hearing about the details on strings being used as like a low-level mind game to get yourself, some more frame advantage to get people to run into moves and whatnot. But I want to say that the string part is definitely character specific. Now, if you want to see what a good character looks like, that has not a good character, but a character that has really good string mix-ups. I have two examples. The easiest one is this guy.
Get ready for the next battle.
Good old Law. And this string, back one here. Back one is also -9, just like June's back two. But what June doesn't have is that, first of all, back two two, sorry, back 1 2 2. Man, it really has it well. Is that it's super delayable, all 3 hits, and the third hit is a heat engager. So, and it's also a heat engager that launches, if I remember right. Was it? It's also a natural on counter hit. Oops. Was it? Not if you do it max delay, but was it? It's pretty damaging, right? Yeah, it is. I can't believe I remember that combo. Anyway, was it? It's super delayable, and was it? While June can go into stance, he can also go into DSS stance. But DSS is way better as a mix-up stance than what's it, Miari stance or something? The one where she stands there. DSS is an incredible stance. So anyway, that's what it looks like on a character that's like meant to have these kind of strings. So in his case, it's a lot better to use on both. It's much more usable both on open ground and against the wall because the threat is for this character is not just the wall splat. He has many other threats. The heat engage, the DSS cancel, puzzle, and he can go into slide and whatnot. But for June, it's just you got the final wall splat extension and was it? Anyway, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want another example, which is not as rewarding, but also very good. Where is this guy? That's up. Oh, I'm hovering over him.
Get ready for the next battle.
Was it? So, Laws is really rewarding. But for Devil Jin, was it? Oops. This one right here. Laser Scraper. Was it? It's very delayable. Was it? It's also hit confirmable for the first 2 hits. Was it? And but most importantly for this character and why his string mix-up comes up more often than someone like June's is that this first move here is actually homing. It's incredibly good tracking, and it tracks both ways. In fact, it's very funny to see because it doesn't really look like a move that would really do that, but it does. Oops. Yep, track that way. Oh, there you go. Oh. There you go. There's a trick in doing it. It's you delay it a little bit. What is it? But it's nigh homing, and the three parts of it are very, very delayable. And then there's a third hit too, and it also wall splats. It's also safe, but it's also linear. This is like a double jump staple. This move has been in the used like this in this fashion for a very, very long time. Like Tekken 5 or something when he came out. Well, I guess you can even say Tekken 4 because the Jin has this move. But it's a little different. Oops. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, now that being said, that concludes what I wanted to talk about. I'll send you these like footnotes I have. I send you these footnotes that I have to have a readable format because I hate video guides, despite me just making one that's like 56 minutes just now. But what can you do? You need visual examples. But I'll send this one over because it's a lot easier to reread, and especially if you watched the video once, it will help to remind on what you are doing. But to summarize some things that definitely want to see next time? Jab, jab to down forward one. It's like such a good stepping, like a step off point to really get you focused into, or like really get you in tune for what you can really do with small Tekken and how you can open up your opponents through the different routes you can the different options that revolve jab into down forward one, and before the down forward, like right after the jab, right after the down forward one. What if the jab hits? What do you do? What if the down forward one hits? What if the jab is blocked? What do you do? What is the down forward one is blocked? And again, start with those there. I pretty much kind of went over all the options there. If you want a reminder, you just need to go back and watch it. But again, jab down forward one is what I want to see. If there's a lot of empty like nothing going on, go in there and take your turn, get your poke off, and go for it. I got oh man, now I feel bad for attacking this on the last bit of the video. Um, uh, Even though you're minus here, right? I think well his is much worse than -6. Even though you're minus here at -3, um, was it just like how um realistically on a jab is the only answer between the jab to down forward one string scenario? Was it you can kind of do the same thing with down forward one. You don't have to step to beat um all the moves, right? Like you could just do down forward one, be -3, and just jab anyway, right? Like think about that. Because you're -3 and you're doing you're adding a jab. That's basically you doing a 13 frame move, right? With that, doing a jab at a -3 frame disadvantage, and it's the same thing. Like, what's gonna beat you? Was it an 11 frame, a 12 frame? Is when like things are gonna trade with you, right? Was it when they do a 13 frame move, they're gonna trade? Sorry, 13 frame is when they're going to trade. 14 frame move, they're too slow. They're going to get beat by your jab, even though you just jabbed after a minus move, right? Like think of that. So realistically, are they going to mash? If they're going to mash, they can only mash with one move to really beat your jab after blocking your -3, your down forward one. Sorry, not -3, right? Like think of like different scenarios like that. So go out there, look at your move list, explore. But despite even exploring on what you can do, there's a good reason why the good old universal jab to down forward one is already strong soul. I don't know why I
Get
switched
ready
back
for
to
the
I'm about to end
next
the video.
battle.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You're already improving like quite a decent amount, so that's already good news. So start building the offensive blocks, and yeah, and then we'll see where it goes. Good luck.